I was advised that a more thorough investigation will be completed. That'll conclude my statement. I will take a few questions, just so everybody knows, this is an active investigation still.
The shocking discovery of Hollywood legend Gene Hackman, his wife Betsy Arakawa, and their beloved dog dead in their Santa Fe home has left the world in a state of disbelief and confusion. As authorities continue to investigate the circumstances surrounding their deaths, troubling questions continue to swirl. Was there foul play involved? Or were the deaths the result of tragic and unfortunate natural causes? With the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office still examining the scene, no conclusions have been drawn, but certain disturbing details are causing more concern than anyone anticipated. The discovery of the bodies, a sinister scene. Gene Hackman, the two-time Academy Award-winning actor known for unforgettable performances in The French Connection and Unforgiven, was found in his Santa Fe home at the age of 95. His body was located in the mudroom of the house, a seemingly unremarkable area of the house, but the circumstances of his death are anything but ordinary. His cane and sunglasses were found next to him, which paints a vivid picture of a man who had likely been trying to navigate his environment, even in his frail state. The image of the man who had once commanded the screen, now seemingly helpless, sprawled in a place he should not have been, is a heartbreaking one. There was no visible sign of trauma on Gene's body, which left investigators puzzled. The forensics team speculated that Hackman may have fallen due to his frailty, a result of his old age, but there were no clear injuries that would explain his death. According to forensic expert Joseph Scott Morgan, most of the time when you have a multiple death event, there's something kind of sinister about it. The fact that multiple lives were lost in the same location, with no definitive cause of death immediately apparent, sets the stage for a more complex investigation. A deeper look into Betsy's death. The sequence of events. The death of Gene Hackman's wife, Betsy Arakawa, is another element that deepens the mystery. Betsy was found lying near a space heater in the bathroom, which is an unusual and unsettling place for her to have passed. Initial reports suggest that she may have died before Hackman, but investigators have yet to determine the exact timeline. Forensic experts have suggested that the order of death is a crucial piece of the puzzle. If Betsy died first, it raises more questions about how Gene managed to survive after losing his wife, especially given his frailty. The fact that Betsy's body was found near a space heater also raises concerns. It has been reported that she may have collapsed, possibly due to a medical event, like a stroke or heart attack. A scattered array of pills was found near her body, thyroid and blood pressure medication, along with some Tylenol, suggesting that she may have been in the process of taking them when she collapsed. There is even speculation that she might have knocked the pills over, further complicating the timeline of her death. The presence of these medications indicates that Betsy was dealing with health issues, which could have played a significant role in her passing. However, another theory suggests that Betsy's death was not entirely natural, which is where the questions of foul play come into play. Could someone have been involved in her death, causing her to fall and lose control of her medication? Or was it simply a tragic medical emergency? The authorities are investigating all angles, but the answers remain elusive. The dog's death, a tragic element. Perhaps one of the most heart-wrenching aspects of this case is the death of the Hackman's dog. The animal was found inside the home, and it appears that it may have starved to death. The circumstances surrounding the dog's death only add to the mystery of what happened in the Hackman household. How could Gene, known for his loving relationship with his pets, have allowed this to happen? Was the dog left to fend for itself after the couple's deaths? Or did the dog's death signify something more sinister? These questions weigh heavily on the minds of investigators as they continue to piece together the events that transpired. One possibility that investigators are considering is that the dog was left alone after both Gene and Betsy passed away. With no one around to feed or care for it, the animal could have succumbed to hunger and dehydration. The tragic image of a helpless animal trapped in a home with no way out only serves to amplify the grief and heartbreak surrounding the deaths of the Hackman family. The condition of the bodies, decomposition and mummification. The discovery of the bodies took place days after Gene, Betsy, and the dog had passed away, and the condition of the bodies raised more troubling questions. Forensic experts noted that the bodies showed signs of advanced decomposition and mummification. This suggests that the couple had been dead for several days before being found. The dry climate of Santa Fe, with its low humidity and high temperatures, may have contributed to this rapid decomposition, but the fact that they were not found until later only deepens the mystery. Experts explained that when the body decomposes in such a dry environment, the skin becomes almost like parchment, brittle and dried. The mummification process is a clear indication that significant time had passed since the deaths occurred, which means that Gene and Betsy may have died days before being discovered. This raises the question, if the bodies were in such a state of decomposition, why wasn't anything amiss earlier? A groundskeeper who visited the home noticed the bodies through a window and immediately called 911. The discovery was made from outside the house, which adds an eerie dimension to the situation. The groundskeeper saw Betsy's body lying in a position that seemed unnatural, prompting him to take action. However, it wasn't until much later that investigators found the front door of the house ajar, which only adds to the list of oddities surrounding the case. The open door suggests that something wasn't quite right, perhaps a break-in or a failure to properly secure the home after the couple's deaths. The open door and the possibility of foul play. Perhaps one of the most unsettling details of the case is the open front door. Police discovered that the front door of the Hackman residence had been left ajar, an unusual occurrence for a home that had previously been secured and locked. The significance of this discovery cannot be overstated. If Gene and Betsy had passed away naturally or through some medical event, why would the door have been left open? Could it be that someone had entered the home? The open door raises the possibility of foul play, with some investigators speculating that the couple might have been victims of a robbery gone wrong, or worse, a targeted attack. At the time of the discovery, the house was locked, but the fact that the door was open when authorities arrived adds an element of suspicion. Was the door opened by the person responsible for their deaths? Or did the couple leave it open in some confused state before passing away? This discrepancy is one of the key points in the investigation, and it has led authorities to keep the possibility of foul play on the table as they examine the evidence. Could carbon monoxide be a factor? In an attempt to explain the deaths, some have suggested that carbon monoxide poisoning could have played a role. Space heaters, like the one found near Betsy's body, can emit dangerous levels of carbon monoxide, a colorless, odorless gas that can be deadly in high concentrations. However, Joseph Scott Morgan, a forensic expert, suggests that carbon monoxide poisoning is unlikely. He explains that the fire department would have thoroughly scanned the house with handheld devices designed to detect CO levels. If carbon monoxide had been present, it would have likely been detected during this process. While the possibility of carbon monoxide poisoning remains a point of investigation, it is not considered the most likely cause of death. The fact that the bodies showed no signs of soot or other typical indicators of carbon monoxide poisoning further weakens this theory. Nevertheless, it remains one of the many questions that authorities must answer as they continue their investigation into what happened in the Hackman home. Hackman's health, the tragic final days. As authorities continue to look into the events that transpired in the Hackman household, they are also considering Gene Hackman's health in the days leading up to his death. Despite being 95 years old, Gene was known for his remarkable physical health, especially for someone of his age. He had maintained a routine of Pilates and yoga, and his daughter, Leslie Hackman, described him as remarkably spry and sharp right up until his death. His remarkable health had allowed him to continue living independently, with the help of his wife Betsy, who had been his constant companion and caregiver. However, as Hackman's frailty became more pronounced in recent years, he increasingly depended on Betsy for assistance. This reliance on his wife paints a tragic picture. If Betsy died first, as some investigators suspect, Gene could have been left helpless and unable to take care of himself. The emotional weight of this situation only compounds the tragedy of their deaths. Could Gene's death have been hastened by the emotional shock of losing his wife? Was he able to survive for a time without her? Or did the isolation of their home contribute to his decline? The need for answers. As the investigation continues, the world waits for answers. Gene Hackman's death, along with the passing of his wife and their dog, has left the world in mourning, but also full of questions. What really happened in the Hackman home? Was it a tragic series of events? Or was there something more sinister at play? For now, the only certainty is that this case is far from over, and the answers may not come easily. With every passing day, investigators continue to search for clues, hoping to shed light on the events that led to the deaths of Gene Hackman, Betsy Arakawa, and their beloved dog. The world watches, anxiously awaiting the truth behind the tragic and mysterious deaths of one of Hollywood's most iconic actors and his wife.